So now when the left doesn't get what they want, they don't protest, they assassinate. This is no longer politics. This is a war on common sense. You guys gotta check this video out.
What's up, guys? It's Benny. A story directly from the pit of hell, the heart of darkness, a sick and twisted worldview of absolute and total extremism, leftist radicals slaughtering and killing in political assassination.
Guys, I'm sorry to pause it so early, but if this sounds like the beginning to a horror movie, it's because it is. But except in this movie, the monsters wear suits and they hold rallies funded by billionaires. Let's keep going, guys.
In the state of Minnesota. It's all connected to the No Kings rally. There's probably one near you, funded by the Walmart heiress, Christy Walton. Ladies and gentlemen, get the hell away from these people and these rallies. These individuals are unstable. It's incredibly sick, and this is an absolutely horrible story. Here we go. In Minnesota, there was a very contentious and very important vote to kick criminal aliens off of Medicare, their free health care. Legislature passes bill repealing Minnesota Care, is what it's called, for illegal immigrant adults. Of course, this will mean that less criminal aliens travel to Minnesota, and the criminal aliens that are there will lose health care. Good. There shouldn't be goodies to incentivize criminal aliens. It passed by a single vote, and that vote was actually from a Democrat leader. Melissa Hortman is her name. Here she is talking about that vote. This is Melissa Hortman. Again, she's a Democrat in Minnesota. She breaks down in tears, knowing.
Guys, it's one of those things where she knew what was coming, right? The moment you break rank with these people, your life is literally on the line. I'm sorry to say it, but this ain't a party, it's a cartel at this point. Let's keep going, guys.
Most likely that this would put a target on her back. She said so in this press conference. I think she meant metaphorically or politically. What she probably never realized was how literal that target was going to be. Again, they were successful in stripping criminal aliens of healthcare privileges in Minnesota, something that was bankrupting the state. Now, Tim Walz, the governor of Minnesota, just a week ago told Democrats that they need to get meaner, they need to get nastier, and they need to get more aggressive. Ladies and gentlemen, this morning in Minnesota, that same Democrat who voted with Republicans to repeal health care for criminal aliens, free goodies from criminal aliens, was shot. It is a horrifying detail of what happened. Here we go. A man dressed as a police officer went to Melissa Hortman's house. And then he also went to the house of a senator, another Democrat named John Hoffman. He was dressed as a police officer, and he had a vehicle that was a police vehicle. So,
Guys, this is what happens when you call for getting meaner. This is literally what happens. You know, the Democrats want to be so mean and wish and want so much stuff to happen to the Republicans. It's sad that it's come to this, right? They're actually not reaping the benefits, they're reaping the bullets. This is a scary story, guys.
of course, you answer the door, right? It's Minnesota suburbs. You answer the door. There's a cop there. What does he need? And he opened fire. He shot both of them. Police say it was a targeted assassination attempt. There's now a massive shelter in place order, and that assassination attempt now, we are sad to confirm, was successful,
Listen to
as
this.
Melissa Hortman succumbed to her injuries and passed away. Now, Tim Walz is here after calling for further aggression and meaner violence from left wingers from his base. Tim Walz is here on camera saying that it's a horrible, unspeakable tragedy that unfolded.
Listen.
Well, that's very strange. Uh, he's the one fomenting this violence. And of course, Tim Walz did not like the vote that Melissa just took. I'm not saying they're connected necessarily, but wait till you see where this goes next, because I will show you the direct
Listen.
connection to Tim Walz. Melissa Hortman, she's a Democrat from Minnesota. She voted to repeal healthcare for criminal aliens. You can tell in this video that she knew there would be consequences. She was right. Melissa and her husband were just murdered. Democrat violence. Okay, so who was the murderer? Right? Melissa did the right thing and she paid for it with her life. Centrist Democrats are up against actual assassinations. Well, ladies and gentlemen, you will be not shocked to learn that the details of who the killer is are all coming together. First off, this is the backseat of the killer's car. He had no kings signs in the back of his car. This No Kings rally, as we've covered on the channel, is a far left-wing astroturfed billionaire funded rally with a bunch of left-wing groups and organizations. It's an
Yep.
anti-Trump rally, and it is planned all across America. There are hundreds of No Kings rallies across the nation today. This individual, this wasn't random. The police officers have stated this was a search of the vehicle. We found the no.
I'm telling you guys, it's weird and this gets nastier as you listen. It's one of those things, guys, because the same governor who told them to get nastier and get down dirty and go do bad things, the same guy that appointed him, right? Tim Walz didn't just fan the flames, right? He actually lit the match. This party is going down so bad that I think we might just be a party system going forward. This is sad. Let me know what you guys are thinking so far throughout this video. Don't forget to like, send this to your friends. It really helps me out, help you. Let's keep going.
King's signs. We found a manifesto, and we found the identity of other lawmakers that this individual was going to target. Here's a list of the people who are behind the No Kings protests today in the country. You can see just a collective of every Marxist group in the nation. Now, ladies and gentlemen, it gets worse. Get a load of this. Now, the suspect has been identified. Suspect who killed Melissa Hortman this morning has been identified as 57-year-old Vance Boatler, law enforcement tells Julio Rosas.
Right here. That's what I just told you.
Bolcher was a Tim Walz appointee on one of the governors.
Tim Walz appointee. So what are you guys thinking? Do you think Tim Walz probably funded this guy? What do you think? Because I I don't know what to say here because there's so many things that if you say them, you get canceled. They do a lot of things to take you down. But what are you thinking? Please leave a comment. Speak for me because I can't say it. I just got to bring you guys good content.
Boards. What a shock. So this man served as on the board of governors. Here's Tim Walz's signature as a business member of the governor's workforce development. Look at that, Vance Boatler. In case you're wondering if that's forged or fraudulent, here's the official documents of the Secretary of State of Minnesota. Here it is. Vance Bolcher. Bolcher. I'll say it correctly. This scumbag is still at large, but he was a appointee of Tim Walz. So if you're an appointee of Tim Walz, if you have No Kings protest signs in the back of your car, you're probably not a Republican, right? Well, it gets worse. Here we go. Former appointee of Tim Walz sought deadly shooting Minnesota lawmakers, and her husband had No Kings flyer in the car. A reminder.
Guys, the craziest part about all of this to me personally, the craziest part, and you may agree with me, this guy, Tim Walz, appointed this guy, but another thing is Kamala appointed Tim Walz to be her vice president. If your vice president is this dark and this evil, what kind of person do you think the president would have been? If the vice president is putting out hits, what do you I think Kamala would have started a war. You know, she would have bombed somebody. That's what I think. Let's keep going.
That Tim Walz did say that he was friends with shooters in a very strange and very unfortunate response to the a question during a.
And why?
Yeah, I sat in that office with those Sandy Hook parents. I've become friends with school shooters. I've seen it. Look, the NRA.
Not a Democrat, the vice president's debate. He was asked about firearms, and he said, "I become friends with school shooters." Okay, I'm not saying their best, but I get, you know. So Tim Walz was friends with shooters after all. Goodness gracious. Vance Bolter, The alleged killer of Melissa Hortman serves as the deputy director of security patrols at Guard Security Services in Minnesota. Reports say he was impersonating law enforcement. This explains how he pulled it off. So he is it's like private security, right? So you can see here sort of a law enforcement looking car. This would be for private security. Okay, so now we're getting some more pieces of information here. Tim Walz was going to be speaking at the No Kings rally in Minneapolis today. Dirty bastard. The No Kings killer who just committed multiple assassinations of Tim Walz's political enemies. Now Tim Walz is honoring and endorsing the No Kings rally in Minneapolis, the face of evil. But it gets worse. Here we go. In case you're wondering if this person is a Republican or a Democrat, this assassin, let's add more logs to the fire here, the left wing fire. Bolter is allegedly a suspect in the shooting. Two Minnesota Democrat state legislatures and their spouses. He was the CEO of a government-subsidized, U.S. federal government-subsidized private protection agency known as Red Lions Group. Red Lions Group received $20,000 in small business loans. He was listed as the CEO of the Red Lions Group. What is the point of this group? Oh, to relocate Africans to Minnesota.
Yep.
You can't even make this stuff up. How much have we gone on and on and on about how Minneapolis isn't Minneapolis anymore because they moved Somalia to Minneapolis, right?
So guys, they used federal funds to relocate whole populations, then lost the funding when Trump's Doge team and Elon exposed the fraud. Do you think this shooting was like revenge? Please leave a comment down below. I really want to know what you think. Let's keep going.
Right? But now we get this. This is active in the Democratic Republic of Congo, the Red Lions Group. He's highlighted on the Minnesota African Union website. The Minnesota African Union website states that a statewide umbrella organization that is focused on the well-being of the immigrant community. So now you're starting to see the connections here, right? With Democrats who voted against healthcare for illegal immigrants. Can you imagine how much this guy's funding has now been cut? How his group now is now defunct after USAID cuts and the votes against criminal alien health care. Former Minnesota State House leader Hortman, Democrat, was shot and killed in a politically motivated shooting after she voted to defund criminal aliens receiving health care.
Crazy.
Butler was reportedly appointed to the governor's workforce board. Okay, so now he's part of a African resettlement group in order to deal with the well-being of African immigrants to Minnesota. Got it? Starting to make sense now? The left kills the CEO of United Healthcare. They killed two Israeli ambassador staffers. They attempt twice to assassinate the president, doxed and attempted murder of ICE and police agents all week, and now kills a Minnesota state rep and her husband, injures a senator and his wife. They become a full-blown domestic terrorist organization. That's right. Donald Trump here, ladies.
Guys, when Democrats are getting gunned down for tiptoeing the line, that's when you start to realize this isn't a movement. This is a terrorist cell within our country lines. I and then they try to attempt the president's life 2 times. I don't know. This is getting out. This is really getting out of hand at this point.
Ladies and gentlemen, I've been briefed the terrible shooting that took place in Minnesota, which appears to be the targeted attack of the state lawmakers. Our Attorney General, the FBI, are investigating the situation. We'll be prosecuting anybody involved to the full extent of the law. Such horrific violence will not be tolerated in the United States of America. God bless the great people of Minnesota, says President Trump. Bongino confirming the FBI is on the ground. This clearly is the motive, right? Yeah. Incredible. And he had no King's signs in the back of his vehicle. Ladies and gentlemen, here is the full update from a press conference that just wrapped with the law enforcement agencies in Minnesota explaining what they now know, but straight up saying we're like, stay away from the No Kings rallies. The law enforcement say he had No Kings posters in the back of his car. Stay away from these rallies. This was a politically motivated.
Evil is hiding behind slogans like "No Kings," but what they fear is real leadership. Trump's leading again, and they're losing control of the chaos that they created. Let me know what you guys think about this quick video. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe if you're new, and as always, let me know what you react to. We're out.